Grant, it's just time to ask questions. That's what we do. That's what we get paid to do. We're just here asking questions. And I have a question for you, Grant. Should the Lakers trade high, sell high on one Austin Reaves?
Well, what we can agree on is that this would be the high point, and if it's not, then you can't trade him for anything because he's played about as well, in some respects, better than anyone. I just looking through the numbers, if you care about this stat, which maybe you should, maybe you shouldn't, still cool to lead the league in anything. Number one in offensive win shares so far this season, and that's pretty good, even if that's a flawed stat. So he's been spectacular. I guess the counter question is, if they hold on to him, what's he going to cost?
Right, and isn't that the why you would move him? Is because you're worried about affording him in free agency, and they can pay him more money and years than any other team. It's on the screen for people watching on YouTube, but a 3-year max from the Lakers is like $135 million. Another team can only give him $131. A 4-year max from the Lakers about $186. And then a 4-year max from another team is like $179. And then the Lakers can go to that 5th year, 5 years, $240 million. There was the report, I think it was from ESPN, that there are executives around the league that believe he could be a $180 million player, which is basically saying some team would come in and give him the max. Before we get to the teams that have cap space, again, because we agree that this is why you would trade him, is that he's making $13.9 million this year. He has the player option for whatever it is, 14 and change next year. Is that you're the Lakers and you don't want to pay, you think Austin Reaves might be a max player to another team, and he's not a max player to your team.
So if he's not a max player to you, then that means I guess he can be a max player, but if you're the Lakers, what your argument is for trading him, we already have our extremely high usage on ball guy in Luka Doncic. We can't use a max salary slot or one of the maybe two that we'll have in addition to Luka on a guy who kind of does the same thing. But isn't the counter to that, like, the best teams Doncic has been on have had some version of that? Like, I guess if you think about Kyrie or you think about the Jalen Brunson Dallas era, where nothing like what Reaves is doing now, which, by the way, just to get it, 34 points a game, leading the league in free throw attempts and makes, had a 16 assist game the other night. Looks
game
like
winner in that game as well.
Game winning floater, splitting the defense. Like, so it's just playing out of his mind. I don't know if it's me, I'm looking at that and saying, as the Lakers, I don't have to go the 5-240 because nobody else can. So it's a little bit like the Siakam situation a few years ago, where all you need to do is beat what another team can offer. And let's say, so the best anyone else can do in free agency is 4 for 179. So if you can be the Lakers, the most they could do on a 4 year is 4 for 185. That should be good. And then the question is, are you comfortable with that number? If you're the Lakers and you're getting someone who's sort of redundant with Doncic, but also like, you need a secondary creator, right? Like that's the push and pull of this.
I don't think that he's I can't envision him as a max player in a vacuum. I honestly think, don't you believe that he might be more valuable to a team that doesn't already have its primary creator? Then you could say that the Lakers need this player, but they weren't even paying Kyrie a max salary for most of his time in Dallas, like with the Luka, like especially if he was there now. That's just so tough. But then you look at what he's doing when Luka Doncic and LeBron James have missed time with the Lakers, and defenses are pressing him as soon as he gets the ball in the backcourt. The screens that the Lakers have to set are basically at the timeline or earlier. So maybe I just haven't caught on to the Austin Reaves bandwagon fully yet. The idea of him, will he be 28, 29, going to that range? So he'll still be in his prime for the duration of his next deal. I haven't wrapped my head around the idea of him as a max player. I think in large part because the way free agency has worked, these guys who haven't established themselves as stars, it no longer feels like they're a given to get a max deal, or even like, just look at, we didn't think that De'Aaron Fox was a given to get a max extension from the Spurs this past summer.
I think maybe the way to stay sane on this, and certainly this is what the Lakers would want to be thinking about if they were trying to get a number in their heads that was like their walkaway number, is let's just pretend these games haven't happened. And let's look at last year, where he's getting you 20 a game, just under 6 assists, good efficiency, 37% of his threes. Nothing like this year, but still getting to the line fairly well for that player type 5 times a game. What's that guy worth, right? Because he's at an age too where this looks like a massive leap that he's making, but this is his age 27 season. Like, it's a little late for like a leap like that or like this to be real. So maybe even you add just a little bit to last year's numbers. What's that guy worth? That's not a max player, I don't think. And it's certainly not a max player for the Lakers, which is why this is a compelling question. What is the value? Like, would we agree that Luka needs a second guy, right, to create shots like that? Like, it can't truly be him alone. Is that guy, if it's Reaves, can that be, he's certainly worth 30 a year, I think. You get up towards 40, which is still below by a little bit the 3-year max the Lakers could offer. And it's basically what another team could offer. That's where it gets hairy. Like, that really is a close question to me. If you think this is crazy what he's doing this year and he's actually 24-25 Austin Reaves, that's where I really don't know.
Does he become, and look, part of it is we've gone through this with other players in the past to where it's why would you give OG Anunoby the salary that the Knicks did over 5 years? It's because you know there's a 4-year max out there. And so I think part of the question needs to come back to, is there a team out there that would give Austin Reaves the max? And so you look at the teams that have cap space, projected to have cap space this year. Initially, Portland was there, but by signing Kamara and Sharp to those extensions, they're off the table. So these are the teams that are projected to have cap space, in addition to the Lakers, by the way. The Nets, the Hornets, the Bulls, the Pistons, the Wizards out east, and then the Clippers and the Jazz in the Western Conference. Is there a team that, let's say Austin Reaves settles into an in-between from what he was last year versus what he's been so far this year? And look, depending on how much time because the other variable in this is once LeBron returns and you have these 3 guys all at once, will Reaves be able to put up the same numbers? But let's say he's like a 24-point per game guy and 5 assists, 6 assists on reasonable efficiency, still killing it in the arc, able to draw fouls. Do you look at any of these teams and say, I could see them, provided they carve out cap space, identifying Reaves as a guy that they're willing to go for 179?
There's one that absolutely leaps off the screen to me, and it also happens to be the one you have the picture of up, which is coincidental. I would have said this no matter what. To me, it's clearly the Pistons. One, because they got to get secondary creation around Cade Cunningham. We don't know if that's going to be Jaden Ivey. That's a free agent decision of its own because he's not getting an extension. Sample size is tiny because of the injury last year. He's starting this year hurt. Reaves makes all the sense in the world there because he allows Asar Thompson to just defend and do the Asar Thompson stuff, because he is a good enough shooter to be off the ball, because he is a good enough, obviously, based on this year, on-ball guy to handle the non-Cunningham minutes. Takes nothing away from Cunningham playing together with him. That's the most, and because the Pistons are much further along than the other teams you have here, at least in the East, Nets, Hornets, Bulls, Wizards, the fact that Reaves will be playing his age 28 season next year is not a deterrent. That should be a deterrent for a team like Brooklyn, Charlotte, Chicago. Who knows? That's a little different. But like, the Pistons are clearly the team here, right?
They would be. And to get to a number that you could max out Reaves, you're probably losing both Duren and Ivy. You're definitely losing one of them. And you're probably not going to have Ivy on the team anyway if Austin Reaves is there.
Yeah, that's the easy part. There's no Ivy.
I do kind of love his fit in Detroit, too. If I was looking at another team, would the Jazz... If it's, we've played out 4 seasons post teardown, and maybe Keontae George still looks good, but you don't you want another primary creator there for everyone else. I mean, his fit with Walker Kessler, Larry Markkinen, even with Keontae George, that could work. Are you worried about that infringing upon what Ace Bailey? Because the Clippers, based off what they're doing, it feels like they want to be more of a year-by-year team, and so signing Austin Reaves for 3 or 4 years doesn't really jibe with that.
Yeah.
The Hornets... Man, I guess if Sexton's coming up, you have Con Knipple, though, there, and Brandon Miller. So, like, Austin Reaves feels a little redundant. Well, like McNeely, Liam McNeely there as well, too. I thought about the Nets a little bit, just because they don't own their own pick next year. So are they trying to do any sort of fast, or do they view it as, well, we could max out Reaves, and we think that's a tradable contract, so we'll sign him and then move him later. But the Jazz, to me, were the second most interesting team on this. I mean, the Wizards have a ton of cap space, but how quickly are they going to be looking to fast track themselves?
Right. Yeah. They feel kind of netsy to me in that it's a little early for a late 20s by this time next year, a high dollar signing guy. The Jazz, just because they have Markkanen, so it's kind of like, well, we're already comfortable with guys that are outside our timeline, and the Markkanen Reaves pairing as a core, that's pretty interesting offensively. And if Kessler is back, then there's your defensive anchor. I don't feel like Reaves takes anything away if you're trying to develop Keontae George, if he sustains what he's done so far this season, and you don't need to make a decision on George just yet anyway. So I think I would agree that the Jazz fit there, but if the Jazz fit there, maybe just as a third place finisher, aren't the Bulls kind of like, wouldn't he make sense there? If Kobe White's gone, he can play with Giddey. Like, it's not a great fit, but it's better than some of these other really young teams.
Right. I would almost prefer him in Washington because Chicago is okay. So did you trade Kobe White, maintain cap space, and decide to pay? Because Reaves has been, I mean, this year Kobe White hasn't played, so Reaves has been better.
A lot better.
Who are you more comfortable giving? Let's just use 4 and 179 to at this point. Is it Austin Reaves or Kobe White? I think that's actually probably a real discussion. But for the Bulls, what type of message does that send if you're just going from Kobe White to Austin Reaves?
I mean, I think Reaves is a better player than White. Maybe not so much that, like, I wouldn't consider White at all for like anything close to the numbers you had on the screen for Reaves. And maybe Reaves doesn't get those, but I'd feel more comfortable with Reaves getting something like that. The Wizards are interesting because if you're bringing him in for what it's going to cost, you're not giving up, but you're saying either Bub Carrington's not a starter going forward, or Trey Johnson is probably not a starter going forward, because he's gonna.
Right.
You could kind of use him in either one of those positions, and that'd be fine. I think based on what we've seen, Austin Reaves can be a point guard, and just forget the combo guard stuff. And maybe that's where he's most valuable. But if I'm the Wizards, I guess it's easier for me to say Carrington's going to lose that spot because, I don't know, he never really projected. I don't think anyone thought he was going to be a star. Maybe Johnson doesn't really have that ceiling either, but because we've seen less of Johnson, we're less certain about that. That's the problem you run into with all the young teams. In addition to, like, why are you spending on a 27-year-old? It's who are we saying you're not it about? Because you're going to have to say it about somebody.
When you look at the number of free agency threats out there, that if you're making the decision to move on from Austin Reaves now, don't you think it has to be purely compensation based rather than we're afraid of paying him, to where it's Team X comes in, and I'll throw some teams at you. Team X comes in with a Godfather offer, and it's, yeah, we'd rather go the route of maybe they view Austin Reaves as the player who gets them another caps lock star, or do they want to go the path of he got us a bunch of first round picks and prospects, and then we'll use that to trade for a bigger star than Austin Reaves? Or is there an in-between where it's, we got a role player or two who helped us remain competitive now, and we got picks and prospects as well, so we're still kind of loading up the trade clip? Because just based off the list of teams we've gone through, it feels like there might be 2 real threats to come in. And look, some of those teams we named might just, like, if the Pistons might just not have cap space if they decide they want to keep Jaden Ivey and Jalen Durden. There goes your biggest threat or most sensible fit off the board.
Yeah, the more we talk about this, the more, if I'm the Lakers, I'm pretty comfortable going the 30 to 35 million a year, however far out that needs to go. Like, whichever of the year structures he would prefer, I'd be okay as long as the annual value is kind of the range I've said, because it can't be for picks. And who is the player? I don't know if you have this, may be unfair. Who's the guy you want to trade him for as the Lakers that you're going to say, this is someone we want to give the 30, 35, 40 a year to? Well,
yeah, and you would, like, how high does that bar need to be based off what Austin Reaves has already done, too? You would maybe need to believe that this, specifically what we're watching right now, is very fly-by-night, and you want to sell. It's sort of, you're selling a stock before you think it's about to crater, and just he played well enough last year to where what we're seeing now, I don't think he's like 35-plus points per game type of guy.
No, he's like a top 5 MVP candidate right now.
Right.
Like, so, no, he's not that. I think if you're the Lakers, it can be a financial decision, and it can also just be, this isn't the player type we're going to spend a max on. It just, like, circling all the way back, it's like, give us we need a Dallas Mavericks Jalen Brunson level player, and we'll pay him accordingly, $20 million a year or whatever. That's good enough as our secondary creator next to Luka. We want a center, or we want like a super versatile 3/4 that can guard the guys we don't want Luka to chase around. Like that, you're just deciding roster build wise, we can't spend this much on this type of player. Would have to be their logic.
Right. And I think so. This is all to say, I'd just be comfortable. And this is what I'm the Lakers looking to do is I'm taking this to free agency, let him decline his player option, and you make the decision then. However, I have a couple teams that I'm just wondering if they could come in and move the Lakers at all.
Okay.
You mentioned the Mavericks. If there's something built around Derek Lively, they have the Lakers' 2029 pick, and then you throw in. By the way, the other challenge here with trading Reaves is because he's making under $14 million. And the Lakers are right up against the first apron. It is very tough to extract what you would deem adequate value out of that. It's hard enough a player making that number. So you either need to expand the deal to include other players, or it really is a picks and prospects based package. But Dallas, just with Derek Lively, they have, I think, 2 tradable first round picks, and you could get into it with them. Like, are the Mavericks on that type of timeline where they should be doing it? Ask Nico Harrison. Don't ask me.
Just as a threshold issue, if I'm the Lakers, I'm trying to trade with the Mavericks first, no matter what, forever, just to see, because you never know. That's what I'm getting at though. Like Lively, not as good a player as Austin Reaves, just makes the best version of Lively makes a ton of sense on the Lakers, right? Like that solves your center problem. But then immediately when you said that, I'm like, can I also get PJ Washington somehow? And then it's like, well, no, because Austin Reaves doesn't make any money. So how, like, you're going to have to blow out this deal. Yeah, you have to expand it, and I don't know if you want to do that.
And PJ also can't be traded this year after signing.
Right, forgot about that. Yeah.
I have just 2 more teams to bounce around.
Okay.
What if the Pistons, we mentioned them as a free agency suitor, what if they come in, deal needs to be expanded, but the baseline is you're not getting a Sar Thompson. I think we'll make that clear. What if it's Isaiah Stewart, Ron Holland, and there's a first round pick, there's 2 first rounds. Is that anywhere in the, and if you're the Pistons, is that even something like, okay, now we're really all Jalen Duren at the 5, right? And Paul Reed apparently.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say Duren, but that's complicated too, because then the Lakers are in the same position of like, what do we pay this guy?
It could be Duren. You could make it work, but would you rather pay Austin? Would you rather pay Austin Reaves $35 million a year or Jalen Duren $25 million a year? And I think I'd rather pay Austin Reaves $35 million.
I think I would too, and especially if I get to keep Stewart. And like, there are a lot of things that Stewart is better at than Duren is. Like, I don't know if he can be your, every down running back. Like, he might just be a change of pace kind of guy. But I mean, he's a great rim protector, can shoot it. It looks like again. So I might. My knee-jerk reaction was like, I'm ready to move on from Duren, and this same kind of like, what do we pay this guy decision that the Lakers would be moving off of in this trade. I think I need more than Duren, though, if I'm the Lakers for Reaves.
Oh, for sure.
Like, I don't know what else that needs to look like. Holland would be an interesting player for the Lakers because you could just use him as like, you're just going to guard 1, 2, or 3. That's your job. Hopefully you learn how to shoot. But if he doesn't, then like, how much of a value add is he for the Lakers?
Just to put a wing in there is really my whole...
Right, and it can't be Thompson because what you want is Cunningham, Reaves, and Asar Thompson, and you just see what that turns into.
Ideally, you probably also want Isaiah Stewart.
Ideally, you do want him there too. I just want him on the Pistons since I've.
If you're the Pistons, though, because you can have cap space, at that point, you're probably just hoping he gets to free agency, right? Rather than
because it's do you trade? Do you give up stuff to get a guy that you could just sign? Although, as you said, if you do sign Austin Reaves, it's because you've given up on at least one or maybe both of Duren and Ivy. So you're kind of quote unquote trading those guys anyway. If you end up signing Reaves,
at least your first round pick is
keep your
like
picks.
You've kept. Yeah. The other team I have, the Rockets. Which it can't happen right now because they're not trading Şengün or Amen Thompson for Austin Reaves. But if there was just a deal where you have to work out the salary filler, it would have to be Tari Eason and picks plus salary. Is that something where the Lakers are, okay, Tari Eason fits exactly what they need. You could also argue that if it was, but again, he's poison pilled. Like Jabari Smith Jr. could be kind of interesting in LA. That would be a very complicated trade. But so between Jabari Smith, Tari Eason, and picks as the baseline, and I do really think what's going to catch a lot of people, rub people the wrong way, is like some of the packages we've thrown out there is Lakers exceptionalism. Like this is what it's taking to get Austin Reaves. One, I'm not saying everything. I'm not saying 4 first-round picks and like Tari Eason and Jabari, but I think that Reaves has entered the level to where, like, no, we're in multiple first-round pick territory, even with him being on an expiring contract.
Yeah, unless maybe the Lakers value one Reed Shepherd as an equivalent to a first rounder.
I thought about that, but look, I love Reed Shepherd. And the idea of Reed Shepherd next to Doncic should make so much sense, but do you believe that the Lakers are actually going to develop Reed Shepherd? And he has not shown enough. Like,
I mean, it feels it's stupid because it's his second year and he's barely played, but I'm kind of tired of waiting for Reed Shepherd to develop. Let's see it. Maybe he's a change of scenery guy. He's a second draft guy, and the Lakers just need to.
But like, this would be a team though that it feels like the compensation, unless you're really expanding it to get Jabari Smith Jr. here, which I think Rockets fans of the Rockets might say, get the hell out of here. Like, we're not giving you Jabari. Sure. But this is a future focused trade then for the Lakers. So then maybe they would be interested in, because you're either saying we want these picks to draft and develop, or we want to turn around and flip these picks in a separate deal.
Right. Yeah. This gets down to like, what is the actual timeline for the Lakers? Because they're clearly comfortable taking a gap year now with Luka in mid-20s prime. Like, I guess if you're thinking of it as we want these picks to flip, then okay, that doesn't necessarily mean like you're going to use them and you're looking at like 3 years from now is when we're really going to peak. And I'm sure Luka will hold up for that long. You can't beat the Pistons for me. The package is kind of there, and the need and the fit. I like every aspect of it the best from Detroit's side.
I think the problem with the Pistons is that I think of the teams that I named, they might have the least incentive to trade for him, just because if you're going to have cap space this summer, I mean, you guarantee, because you're not trading for him without knowing he stays. But the optics of giving Ron Holland recently a top 5 pick, and then you're going to give up more first-round picks on top of Isaiah Stewart. And maybe you could do, well, are the Lakers going to take Tobias Harris as matching set, and you're expanding it that way? I don't know. I was just trying to come up with a baseline offer. But the Pistons are by far my favorite fit. He would be fun as hell on this version of Milwaukee. They just don't have the assets to go out and get him unless they're trading Giannis, of course.
I think another small consideration is like Jaden Ivey's value just could hardly be lower given his draft pedigree and like what he actually did last year when healthy. So the Pistons might look at this as like, we can keep Jaden Ivey in restricted free agency for less than half of what it's going to cost to pay Reaves. And like, he's not half, he's 80% the player Reaves or something like that. It's just the value proposition might just favor, we'll just keep our guy for way less, not trade picks. And if it turns out Ivy can't be what we know Reaves might be able to be, well, then we move on and we didn't burn picks and we did, you know what I mean? Like that, I could see them thinking that.
Just asking questions here, would a challenge trade, and it'd be a sign-in trade, of Austin Reaves for Franz Wagner be interesting at all?
Wow. I just don't think Orlando would give up. I mean, I would be very interested in that if I were running the Magic. I don't think the actual Magic would trade Franz Wagner for Austin Reaves.
They're already kind of light on wings, too, sneakily. And so Austin Reaves doesn't make...
The shooting from Reaves and the shot creation would be an upgrade. But, I mean, Franz was a better player than Reaves last year. So, we're talking about the 5 games of this year, Austin Reaves versus Franz. But, like, Franz he was better.
What about, can Toronto do anything? Colin Murray, Boyles, picks, salary.
Then it's like, what are the Lakers? They're going to wait for Colin Murray Boyles to hit his prime?
Honestly, defensively, he might already be in his prime.
Maybe. Yeah. This rookie class, man. There's some like Cedric Howard. We're getting off topic, but yeah, Murray Boyles looks really good. I don't know if you've seen a lot of him, but he looks really good.
Oh, I've seen a lot of Colin Murray, but I've actually not seen enough of Cedric Howard. I'm going to have to go back and watch him before we do like
all the rookies are good. They're all good.
All of them.
Every last one.
Even Mohamed Diawara, he's ahead of Pacome Dadier in the next rotation. That's like rookies just taking it by storm. There any just teams you'd want to throw out there as a potential like be interesting as Austin Reaves?
You said Milwaukee, right? Milwaukee's definitely one that would be fascinating. Although, is he going to eat into Ryan Rollins?
Could you imagine Reaves and Ryan Rollins in the backcourt, though? That'd be insane.
Yes, and I'm enjoying it. I'm doing it right now. It's very enjoyable. Let's see.
Dallas would be a good fit, right?
Austin Dallas Reaves would be great. And you could go down the list of teams where it's like, is there enough creation here? Dallas certainly fits into that. We said Houston, Orlando. Like that's been a real issue for a lot of teams. Is like, can somebody create shots? So any place where that's an issue. What about Miami?
Ooh,
because
that would run so counter. They spent this entire preseason learning this new offense, and so here would be interesting though. What if they decide, okay, we want to pay Austin Reaves instead of Tyler Hero? What does Tyler Hero stuff needs to be that's a really awkward conversation to have.
Does Tyler Hero get you more in a trade than Austin Reaves?
Probably.
I don't think so.
Probably not, but should he? Like, isn't Tyler Hero a little under? Is it like I don't know? He's more of an off-ball threat. Oh, Reaves' cutting is bonkers. That's a really tough discussion. I think
Reaves is better on the ball. I think
you're right.
He's a better facilitator. I think you could say Hero's a better scorer, but Reaves had 50 in a game this year, so I don't know if that's true anymore.
Are you trying to pair Reaves with Hero in that situation where we're giving Khalil Ware?
It's a little like the Ivy situation where we're like, hey, we're going in a different direction.
It's funny because Austin Reaves kind of feels like what Miami needs. Do you think he could play the way that they're playing right now, though?
I got another one.
Pelicans? I'm just kidding. They're not a real NBA team. I'm just joking.
What about Minnesota? I don't know
how
that
they get
looks.
him. Would you give up Jaden McDaniels for him when your defense is already so shaky?
Well, and if you're the Lakers, you're like, we could use a Jaden McDaniels next to Luka. We haven't talked a lot.
We haven't talked about this yet with the Lakers either, but can you do a trade where it's Austin Reaves for a non-shot creator, and you're also not sure if LeBron is going to be back?
Well, that gets back into like, can we get our sort of bargain secondary creator? How hard or how easy would that be? What level of player does it need to be for our offense to be functional with Luka? I think generally speaking, you do need that guy, but if you're just like triaging the Lakers situation, I think you can get away with prioritizing a lot before you get to that secondary creator guy. You need one, but you need your center. You need your guys that are going to hit a bunch of spot up threes and defend. I think you need those more. So I guess the answer is, yeah, you can absolutely trade Reaves and lose LeBron without getting back your secondary creator. You can. The level for that is not super high. You absolutely must have the other stuff I mentioned. Does that make sense? Like,
no, that makes a lot of sense.
It's still a need. You can't have it be all Luka, but it can be like, I don't know, peak Bogdanovich or something. Could be that guy, like that type of player. Jaden McDaniels is the player I'd want. If I'm Lakers, I don't think Minnesota can justify, especially the way that Gobert has kind of looked at this year. And then you're gonna have Randall and Reaves. Yeah, it would change the team a lot.
You would need the Lakers to be high on Rob Dillingham, and then you can only trade a swap right now. I don't think there's a pathway to Minnesota being able to get Austin Reaves. What about Oklahoma City? Fuck shit up.
They're not allowed to trade anymore. Portland needs someone.
That was the team. Portland would be fun. I don't know what the package is, though.
Well, if I'm the Lakers, I'm asking for Kamara, and I
who can't be traded.
Also, damn it. All this, these extension guys. Yeah, so then I think deal's off because if I can't get him, I'm not interested. What even would it look like? You take a test drive on Scoot. Would you trade Scoot if you're Portland if you're getting Reaves back?
Probably. Yeah.
You would.
I don't think if I'm the Lakers, I don't Scoot and Luka. I don't know what that is. Yeah, okay, you get a second creator, but there's so much left uncertain.
You might need more shooting out of that second creator because
you're not getting a wing
version of off-ball version of Scoot's not good enough.
I do think if you're trading Reaves and you're not getting a wing and or a big as part of the deal, it probably just needs to be nixed, right? And so you're not Jeremy Grant. expanding the deal to get Jeremy Grant's not doing anything for you.
Yeah, no, you're not getting a better secondary creator than Reaves if you're trading Reaves. So
do the Spurs need another guard? Should the Spurs? The Kings, they're only starting 4 guards at this point. The Kings could use another one.
They haven't tried 5 yet. Why not?
I think the Pistons and Dallas, I like his fits. I don't know if they're feasible trade destinations. The Rockets would be interesting too. The Miami one's super interesting. I just don't know what the package is.
Yeah, I mean, that's the case for a lot of this, just because, like you said, Reeves' salary number complicates it. Just the more we talk about it, the more I think I'm taking it. I'm taking it to free agency. I want to keep Austin Reaves, and there's maybe a walkaway number, but really, by the time you get to free agency, you'll have a much better idea of like where he actually is between last year's production and what he's done so far this year. So maybe 30 a year is plenty, right? Like maybe that ends up being fine, and you're good with him because then you still have room for another max guy potentially if you play it right.
Yeah, it really does depend on how much he costs, but I'm with you. I'm letting this. I wouldn't sell high. It would have to be. Does the Desmond Bane package even get you to move Reaves at this point as the Lakers?
If as the Lakers, I don't know, because you're banking on being able to flip those for someone like Reaves, right? Like then what was the point?
We're just asking questions. Are you ready to take us out of here?
Yep. Thanks everybody for listening, for watching. Remember to rate, review, and subscribe. Tell your friends, tell your enemies. Join our Discord. Link for that in YouTube and podcast description. Speaking of YouTube, give us a thumbs up. Give us hype points. We're still learning what hype points are, but we'd prefer to have them as not. So
we think
there's a button there. We think. I don't know. Yeah, that's gonna do it. Thanks again. Shouts Frank Ntilikina. Apologies, Jared Allen.